Relax and get loose while I put you up on game. The Figure Booth with Josh and Nate. This that podcast folk. Those in the know. Batman vs. Iron Man. How would it go? We talking one of a kind. Collectibles. Mezco toys are respectable. It's unacceptable if it's not in the packaging. Nate don't take pics if you ain't rapping it. Nate's dirty tricks are always happening. But damn it, man, don't you be stressing. Round here we believe in plastic confessions. We trying to figure out the figures that's gonna stand the test of time. That G.I. Joe handmade hit me in the spine. There's perfection in the way that these toys are made. But I also wanna know, do I pick Wade or Slade? So this is where I come to kick it with the guys. The Figure Booth. Like, comment, and subscribe.
Hello and welcome to the Figure Booth podcast show where we talk about the ups and downs of being a modern day collector. We go over pre-orders. We share our weekly hauls, better known as plastic confessions. We do interviews with those in the toy community. My name is Josh, also known as Prime to the First, and I'm joined by my friend and co-host, I know him as Nasty Nate. You guys can see him.
Nate. At FigureFan_Nate. And you've reached episode 56, which we're calling, what are we calling this again, Prime?
We are calling this the Deal or No Deal.
The Deal or No Deal, that's right.
The Deal or No Deal.
Yeah, we went through some different names, so I had a blank moment. I was like, wait, what did we settle on? Yeah, the Deal or No Deal. Which, go ahead. We've touched on this like in different ways, but not like focusing on it in a full episode.
Yeah.
So it's something that me and kind of Prime been talking about, like, hey, I need to sell some figures.
Yeah.
How am I going to go about doing that? I think a lot of people have confusion on how do I pick a good price? How do I deal with shipping?
Yep.
And how do I
really
pick which figures to sell? That kind of thing.
The thing also, like, it's really crazy because we have kind of sprinkled it in a lot of our previous episodes. And a lot of times I think it's one, like going back to what's our why for the show here at the Figure Booth. That's what we try to focus on. We bring you guys topics. We talk about the ups and downs. And a lot of that feedback that you guys have been sharing with us, you guys are letting us know that these themes, these topics are resonating with you. And sometimes there's some good themes that we kind of can deal with. And sometimes some of these themes are going to be kind of difficult, like selling stuff. I think as a collector, it's really hard for some of us to kind of make that transition to over the fence of selling. There's some collectors that have already sold some stuff, and it's easy for them to buy stuff and then sell stuff. Like, to me, when I first think about selling some of my figures, like, I go to Mario because he does it so easily. Like, he'll buy something, if he doesn't like it, no, there's no attachment, and he sells it. And I feel like he's in a different season. And really, a lot of times, like, as a collector, you got to ask yourself, what season are you in? Are you just starting out? And a lot of times, if you're starting out, like we've shared before, don't get to the point where there's so much. You start asking yourself, like, I have so many boxes and I'm going to end up living out of a box. Like, does it get out of control? And there's a lot of other things that we can even talk about, like priorities. I see a lot of times in groups where a lot of collectors are selling all their stuff because they have to, because they need to pay for a bill or they need to pay their rent. And that's a whole nother show. This type of Deal or No Deal, what we're talking about is, like, for me personally, I've gotten to a point where me buying all the figures, doing the pre-orders, doing the hunts, like, it doesn't even bring me joy anymore. So then I almost, you find yourself having like this two-faced conversation where you turn into two-faced and you're like, bro, what are you doing? Like, you're buying this stuff and you're not even enjoying it. Like, take a look.
I think, yeah, no, I hear you. And I think that resonates with a lot of people because I've been seeing this a lot where, we talk about Mezco's getting delayed, for instance.
Right.
And people are upset about that. And then all of a sudden, Wolverine, the new Mezco Wolverine comes due. And people are like, wait. I'm not ready to pay for that yet. Right. Can we just hold off? And it's like, wait, hold on a second. A day ago, you were complaining about how long this was taking to come out. Yes. Now it is dropping, and you're worried about paying for it. And I think we're all kind of going through that. Like, man, the pre-order onslaught. We got SDCC coming up.
Yep.
It's really starting to kind of like stress some people out. So it's like, okay, I need to sell things to make money for other things.
Yep.
I think there's a certain way to go about it, or at least try to have maybe a lead up to that, so that you're not part of the group of everyone that is kind of trying to drop stuff at the same time, because it's really hard to sell stuff.
It is
when you see everybody else is selling stuff too.
And then a lot of times we all end up selling the same stuff because we're all collecting the same type of figures.
Right.
And then that gets frustrating where you're like, damn, Nate's selling his Mezco and I'm selling my Mezco and he has it at one price. Now, like, we're doing the race to the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, you're competing with people. Right.
That sucks.
Right. And sometimes even in a Discord group, there's almost like a competition, like an unsaid competition. It's like I'll post my sales post and then 10 minutes later, somebody has like this page-long post, and so mine just gets pushed up. It's like, all right, well, nobody even knows I'm selling anything anymore.
Yeah.
And then somebody else comes in 5 minutes later and posts like 5 or 6 things that same guy posted 2 days ago. Yeah. So he's trying to make sure that his stuff is at the top of the list. You know, it's like, it's kind of annoying.
And even dealing with that, like that could take the wind out of your sail. You're like, forget it. I'm not going to sell none of my stuff because I can't sell it. And then now you're just trying to get rid of it. And again, I think that's what we're trying to hone in on. And I'm going to remind you guys, if you guys are finding value in what we're bringing to you, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you spread the word, because we just crossed threshold. We got 300 subscribers on the channel. So we're going to do a little party, tiny, small party, but we need more help. So if you guys like what you're seeing, spread the word. Tell your neighbor right now, turn around and show your wife and tell them, hey, go tell 10 of your friends. That's what we need. We need more people to come and watch us. But that's what we're talking about. We're saying, don't let it get to that point where you can't sell your stuff and then you're just like, you're over it. Because I've gotten to a point where I just need I need to hit a reset button. I need to hit that reset button so I can make room for all the new stuff. We had a live where someone had commented that Fabster had said, if it's not in the display case, then it probably shouldn't be in your collection. And for some of us, we're very limited. For others, we have larger rooms. Like I only have room for whatever's in that back shelf. And then in my DTOFs, I have 3 DTOFs and they're full. So I'm like, I'm never going to have any type of rotation. So I need to get rid of some stuff. And there's so much good stuff constantly coming out. And that's the season that I'm in. I invite you guys. I'm going to sell everything. I'm going to sell the loose stuff. I'm going to sell my mock stuff. I'm going to sell my doubles. Join me. And let's go through this journey and let's see what happens. Like I'm going to go through it and then hopefully it'll give me, I feel like my collection has gotten to a point where it's excess and it's like blocking all my creative juices. And I think if I get rid of all that stuff, then hopefully I'll have some time to like mess with those handful of figures that are really my favorite. Maybe I can sit down and take some pictures again. That's kind of like, those are some of the things I miss.
Yeah. And I think you touched on this earlier, but there's definitely like the different seasons of the collector. Like if you're a beginner, you're probably trying to hold on to things and like, I don't want to sell things, because I'm just getting started. Yeah. If you've been around for a while, like me in Prime, you're getting to the point where the collection starts to stress you out.
That's what you don't want. You don't want the collection to stress you out.
I'm going through painting my house and I'm trying to like move things from one room to the other. Yep. And I'm doing this with my wife and I've got all my figures like in this closet. Yeah. And my wife's like, well, let's just store some things in this closet. I'm like, well, let's just not go do that right now. She's like, no, hold on. Let's just open it up. Go through it. And then I start having this like realization of myself, like, man, this thing is just packed full of figures. And I've got boxes of stuff now that I want to get rid of because that causes me stress. And that's another thing. I'm using all of this space to store them when I could use that for other things. It's not fun.
No, it's not fun. And what's crazy is a lot of us seem to like get on this same season where I've been thinking about this, and you guys have been listening to us and watching us. I've been mentioning I'm going to sell my Legends first. I've been talking about selling my Legends for quite some time. I think running count is almost a straight year. And now I'm actually like a Band-Aid, ripping it off. And I told my wife, I'm selling everything. She was like, what? Are you serious? I'm like, I'm going to sell everything except what's on the shelf and then my DTOFs. Because obviously those are the ones that are like, the cream of the creme. But everything that's in the tubs and everything that I don't see, like, why am I hanging on to it? I'm not going to be able to take it with me. There's no hearse attached to a casket. Or there's no U-Haul attached to a casket, so I'm like, why take it,
Right.
Yeah. And again, we're in this age of collecting where there's so much good stuff.
There is
constant pre-orders, constant HasLabs, constant there's
non-stop.
constant nonstop. This is like the best time to be a collector. And I feel like
best and worst.
Best and worst, because all the old stuff that I have is like, I feel like it's holding me down, and I need to like just let it go. To obviously like someone who really either will appreciate it more, or again, that first time collector where they're looking for that one item. And I know what it feels like, because I've been in that season where I'm looking for this certain character or this certain legend that came out before I was in the game, and I wish someone could just let it go. And I'm at that point where I'm like, I'm just gonna start letting stuff go.
Yeah. When I think a lot of that, when you start considering it, is it seems like a stressful task of how do I even start to price this? What do I use as a gauge?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people will, first instinct is go to eBay,
right,
and look at, hey, what's it selling for now? What do people have it listed for?
Yeah.
I think it's the wrong way to do it, though.
Yeah.
Look at eBay maybe for sold listings first.
Step one, eBay sold
eBay
listings.
Sold listings, not what they're actively listed for now, because you can see, you could have like
crazy prices.
Yeah, like a Lone Roach, for instance, go from like 600 to 300. I mean, that's just not a good gauge to start from. What people are willing to pay is what it's actually selling for.
Yeah.
And then, you like me, when I'm going to buy something, I immediately go to, okay, what has it sold for in the past? That's probably my ceiling.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then also on eBay, you're paying for the additional fees. So I can see why people go a little higher, maybe, because eBay charges a lot now. I think it's like up to 12% of your total.
It's crazy. Yeah, I don't
sale.
I used to sell stuff on eBay, not anymore.
And then you got PayPal that's charging you, because eBay and PayPal don't play nice together anymore. Yeah. So you got two different companies charging. And then you got the eBay problems, which has been it seems like it's getting worse and worse. But like, if there's anything I could recommend people doing, is not to use auctions on eBay. It's just too easy for people to get out of it and say like, well, I just don't want to pay for it anymore. And then eBay won't do anything really negative against them, because and buyer's not obligated to give you money, even though I feel like an auction's kind of a contract of saying like, hey, you are going to buy this for that price. Yeah. I've had it happen one too many times where I avoid eBay entirely for selling. But I think a lot of that also is, what's your reach outside of that? Because it might not be as easy for people to find other people to sell.
Yeah.
So if you have a Discord group, if you're not part of a Discord group and you're a figure collector, you're kind of missing out on a really golden opportunity to have a community of people.
What's the Discord group you're part of? I'm part
of the Figure Collective.
Yeah, because we've had some people reach out and talk. They thought it was the Figure Booth Discord. We don't have a Figure Booth Discord.
No, actually, I didn't start this Discord. I've been part of it for the last few years. I'm an admin in there, but it's called the Figure Collective.
Yeah, really cool.
If you guys are interested, I'd be happy to send you an invite. Prime's part of it too. So if you're more friendly with Prime, you don't want to approach me, I'm sure you can send you a link. But I'm also part of the Toying Around, the Enablers Discord.
Yes, the Enablers Discord is awesome.
Yeah, One Stop Toy Shop
has a Discord.
Yeah, Toy Migos has a Discord. I think Paige is part of another Discord of collectors. There's a lot of them out there, and it's a great resource for people in the collecting world, because most of the time, I won't say all, because there are some toxic Discords. Most of the time, though, you're dealing with people that are fellow collectors that understand what things should really be priced at, not trying to price gouge you, not trying to get the top dollar eBay listing price. They're trying to just get rid of things for a reasonable price. That's one thing you mentioned, Mario. That's one thing I think Mario's really great about, is that he'll list it for usually what he paid for it. He's not trying to make any extra money, and sometimes even less than that.
Yeah.
So you got to be willing to, like, if you really want to let it go, don't be greedy about it and be like, well, what's the most I can get for this?
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah, because if you start focusing so much on maximizing your profit, it's going to be really hard for you to move that quickly. Because everybody wants the BBD, the bigger, better deal. Like, where can I go to find the BBD? That's what
BBD,
better deal,
bigger, better deal. We're changing it midway through the show. Bigger, better deal.
Yeah, I had a hard time with the title, and now we're changing it again.
BBD. Wow,
but
I like that.
Everybody's just like, well, I'll wait and see if somebody else sells it for a lower price, or they'll DM you and say, well, can you take $30 off it? You got to be willing to negotiate, because not everybody wants to pay. Everybody wants to feel like they're getting a good deal. So I would even start higher than what you're willing to let it go for. And then if a guy's teetering, you could say, well, I'll knock $20 off it.
Yeah.
That's kind of a way to get the sale done, get it over with, and get it out of your hands.
Yeah. We want to show you how to deal, which I think that was the original name of our episode. How to deal.
We're a mess today. We're a mess.
Man.
But yeah, I mean, it's just, that's for pricing. That's kind of how I approach it.
Yeah.
What do you think? Like, is that sort of your method for pricing?
And I think that's really good, using your resources. Like, yes, eBay is a good starting point. Don't use that, especially if you're part of a Discord. And again, we want to think, who's your audience? You are going to be selling to a fellow collector. Do you want put yourselves in their shoes? You don't want to be taken advantage of. At the same time, you're not going to sell something that you know, and if you know it, the other collector knows, okay, this has some value. I'm not going to, and again, this goes with our second point, etiquette. You don't want to lowball somebody. And if you know someone's giving you a deal, like meet them halfway. Don't shoot them an offer that's like almost like a slap in the face, because I think as collectors, we're crossing that bridge where we're letting this stuff go, whether or not it's sentimental, whether or not we have attachment to it. We're deciding, hey, it's no longer going to be part of a collection. I'm giving a fair deal. And most of us know, okay, that's a good deal, or that's an okay deal. It's not super crazy expensive, but it's a little bit above retail. But we all know, a lot of us know what the going rate for any figure is. It's by a consensus where you're like, hey, that's a legend. That probably shouldn't be no more than X amount. And there's certain legends that are crazy expensive, like the retro Spider-Man. Loose, I've seen them for $80. Mint on card, I've seen them for 120. And almost people don't bat. They're like, yeah, okay, that's kind of what's the going price. But he's an exception. Like, you can't expect to get another Spider-Man or any type of figure that high. Or when someone sells a retro Spider-Man, be like, oh, I'll give you, retail, or I'll give you $30. You know damn well he's not going for that rate.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, and that's a good point too. Like, I know I talked about it, but like, make it reasonable, you know. Because if you're just going to charge me what eBay's charged me, I'll just go to eBay.
Yeah.
Like, give it some incentive. Just think about yourself as a consumer.
Yeah.
What is it that makes you spend money?
Yeah. And don't be that one guy or that's looking for, like, I've seen a couple posts where they're looking for certain, and this is particularly for Mezco, they're looking for certain Mezco, and they're like, oh, I'm not willing to spend no more than 100. And I'm like, retail was like 85 or $95, and that figure, there's no way you're gonna get it for 100. Shipping alone is gonna be $20. It's a bigger box. Like, come on, you're not gonna get them for below retail. Like, no Mezco you're gonna get. It's gonna be rare for you to find a Mezco for retail value.
That's really good point. I've seen that a lot lately.
That cracks me up. Or with Mythic Legions, they're like, oh, I want it for just a little bit above retail. I'm like, come on, you're good luck. That's all I can say.
See, like, in search of, like, I really want this, and just a random figure. Let's say the original Mayfix Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And I'm only willing to spend $75 on it.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I mean, I think it's courageous of you to state your purchase price and expect someone to adhere to that.
Yeah.
But I think it's kind of a bold thing to do.
Yeah.
Because you're just basically putting your own ceiling on it.
Yeah.
What you're willing to spend. And, maybe 75 is a good price, but I know that Mayfix Spidey is sought after. So if you're seeing it sell on eBay for like $120, you kind of look like a jackass when you're like, I'm only willing to spend 75.
Yeah.
You're not going to get anybody that's going to accept that offer because they know they can get more. I think another thing to consider is timing of when you're trying to sell stuff. A lot of the times you see people sell after something big has come out. So the Hiss Tank or Mezco, the new Pink Skulls Chaos Club. You saw a bunch of people sell stuff right after that.
Yeah.
You got to consider it. I just spent, what was it, $300 on that set? I'm in my mind, this is me, and it could be other people. Yeah. I'm not immediately going to go to sales post and be like, what else can I buy?
Yeah.
I'm also on that boat where I'm like, oh, I probably shouldn't sell money. And I get it. Those people are like, I need to fund this now because it's a buy now item. If you didn't charge PayPal, you're going to put it on your credit card or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
So I get you're trying to get money for that money, but maybe if you'd done that like a week before it dropped, you'd probably have a bit more success.
Yeah.
Because if you're trying to do it right when it drops, it's just, you're going to be competing against everybody else that's doing the same thing as you. So,
and I think that goes back to your other point. Like, you can't try to maximize your profit when you're amongst a herd of sellers.
Exactly.
You gotta just kind of let it go and give somebody a really good deal, or give it a price that you know it's gonna sell for sure. Like I'm at the point right now where I'm gonna start selling a bunch of my stuff, and I'm gonna do an IG like live auction where it's like a flat base shipping rate, and then we're gonna go from there. And then whatever, I'm just trying to get rid of the stuff. Like whoever wants to buy it, just throw a number out there, and boom, it's yours. So.
Right.
It gets to that point where you just got to figure out, okay, what do you want to get out of your collection? Are you going to try to squeeze the maximum profit? It's going to take a lot of work. And do you have the patience and time for that? If you want to just get rid of it and unload it, there's a lot of guys out there in the collection, in the toy community world, that buy large lots. Like I know a couple of dudes that they're like, hey, I'll give you one flat offer for your whole entire lot. Sometimes that works out. Sometimes it doesn't. Or take it to your local, there's a toy shop that buys lots, and sometimes they only buy like mock stuff. Or this guy, he buys loose legends, but they have to be like complete. And certain stores have certain guidelines and stuff like that. Or there's another store where it's like a consignment. You can take your collection there, they sell it for you, and they take a percentage. So there's a lot of options.
Yeah, there are a lot of options. That was gonna be one of my other points. Is like it's not just online that you can sell stuff. To Prime's point, you can go to local comic stores.
Yeah.
You can go to local toy stores. Will they give you top dollar? Definitely not.
Probably not. No.
Yeah, if you go to a comic store or a toy store, expect maybe 50% of the value, maybe.
And sometimes you get lucky. Like I took a small lot of Marvel Universe figures, which a couple of years ago I really regretted it. I was like, oh, I shouldn't have sold them. But it was like an X-Force pack. It was some other stuff, and it was all mint on card. But then I sold the Toy Biz Marvel Legend Rogue, and we all know if you've been a Marvel Legend collector, the Toy Biz Rogue was like, but it was way before retro. Like no other Rogue had been announced. So when the guy saw that I was signing, he was like, oh man, I didn't get super top dollar because she was loose, but I got way more than I would have ever expected. I think maybe he gave it like $25 or $30, and she was going for like 60, even though she was super duper ugly. But like 3 months after that, that's when they announced the retro Rogue. And one of my buddies like, dude, you timed that perfectly. I'm like, I didn't. Yeah. I looked at her and I'm like, I don't use her for nothing. Like, I need to get rid of her. And that was the only legend I sold with all the rest of the mock. And it was cool because this store was either like, here, we'll give you this amount cash, and I think I might have bought like $50 cash, or they're like, we'll give you $80 in credit. And I'm like, oh, I'll take the credit.
Yeah, I think that. You good point, because I was going to say the same thing. I would say if you are going to use a store like that, definitely try to go for credit. Maybe find a store that has something that you're interested in.
Yep.
And because to Prime's point, they want to get rid of their inventory too.
Yeah.
So if you're forcing them to do cash, they'll go as low as they can.
Right.
Don't be afraid to haggle. You could say like, here, I'll give you 50. Well, can you give me 75?
Yeah.
Okay, let's meet in the middle at 60. So you're getting a little bit more than what you thought. But if you want to really maximize that value that you're going to get from one of those stores, definitely use trade-in, because they want to get rid of that stuff too.
Yeah.
So sometimes they'll be like, well, will you give me this figure for this figure?
Right.
Or maybe these two figures for this one? Would you do that? You can't be afraid to haggle. Do it respectfully.
Yeah.
Don't be an asshole and be like, well, I'm only going to give you 20, or call the guy out for not giving you a good price, because you got to think about it from a business standpoint. Those guys want to buy so they can sell higher. Yeah. It's always trying to make profit for the store. So is it really that surprising they want to offer you 50% of what it's worth? Not really, because they're trying to make some money. They're not just a personal collector. I think a good option for local, and depending on where you live, this may not be as easy, but if you can find like a local convention or a toy show, or even sometimes in these comic book stores, they'll have like these weekends where they have people come in from locals.
Yeah.
Buy
like a swap meet type of thing. And
exactly. Yes.
I would encourage more of the swap meet, or find a local corner. If you find a really busy corner, put your table there and just set up next to the kid with the lemonade stand. The only reason I say that is there is a local swap meet that one of the toy stores does, and you can show up, you get on this list, and you set up your table and stuff like that. But there's a toy show. It's fairly large, and you can sign up to be a vendor and sell your stuff there. The only thing with that is you need like a seller's permit. You need a seller's you need some paperwork to be official. And if you're a collector, you're like, hey, I'm only going to do this maybe once, maybe twice, or I'm just doing it once to clear up. That may not be the best option. So look for those swap meets, or go to your local swap meet and just like set it up there. I know there's a lot of collectors that like to do that type of hunting where you go. I've found some really gems going to my local swap meet and seeing that. That's what I have my eye out for. It's like, oh, where's the collector? Sometimes it's good and sometimes it's not good, because then you know, like, oh, this guy's not a true collector. He's just one of those that buys stuff and tries to flip them. Yeah. And then you a lot of times, more on the positive side, I do run into individuals where they are true collectors and they're just like, hey, this is stuff I found or stuff that I'm trying to get rid of. And I've scored some really, really sweet deals. Sometimes they don't know what they have. If they're really just your typical swap meet and they're like, they buy the storage unit. I came across a lady who was selling like the storage unit that she had bought. And she was like, just give me $50 for the box. And it was like a box of legends. And I was like, whoa, and you get lucky sometimes. So
you definitely do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of the times they'll charge you like a small fee for that, maybe $5-10 to have a table or something. And I think from what I know with Prime and how many legends that he has, he's got totes. I think that'd be a great place for you to go.
Yeah.
Because you could sell like an entire tote. The guy's like, man, I want a lot of these in here.
Yeah.
And be like, all right, well, give me $200 for the tote or something like that.
Man.
That guy's going to get a smoking deal, but you're going to get rid of a lot of stuff and make $200 in cash quickly. This is stuff that you want to get rid of for a while.
And you really want to think about it. You really want to go through them, because the first time I did this, I was transitioning from like the Toy Biz and like Kenner stuff, all the vintage figures, transitioning into Marvel Legends. And I had all the like a huge tote and almost like trash bag full of Toy Biz. Like I think I had almost all of them, and I was selling them individually, like at a swap meet. And this woman comes up to me. She's like, how much for all of them? And I didn't even sit out and piece it like, oh, if there was, let's say it was 100 figures, and if I'm selling them at $5 a pop, I'm like, oh, I should probably sell the whole lot for around $500 or something, right? Simple math, not 36 head skulls, but just $500. And I look at the bag and I'm just like, how much do I want? And I was super young too, and I was just like, 100. I think I said maybe $150 or something, because to me that was like, yeah, I can buy it this Marvel Legend week. And back then Marvel Legends were only $8. So I was like, $150, I can buy 2 waves. And I'm like, $150. She threw that money down to me so quick. She took the whole bag, and I'm like, yeah, I sold everything. And then my sister's like, how much did you sell that for? I'm 150. She's like, you had over, then she started doing the math, and I was like, I just took a fat loss, huh? Like, dummy. Dude, like, come on, prepare. That'd be my advice for those trying to unload a big lot. Like, I got excited. I was like, she wants everything? Hells yeah. I don't have to sit here and, I was already willing and dealing with guys that were trying to like, oh, I'll give you $2, $3. Like, I was pricing them pretty cheap.
Well, like and you go right in. It's a great segue, because one of my last points was going to be prepare.
Yeah.
Prep your stuff.
Yeah.
Prep like the prices. What's the least you're willing to take for that?
Yeah.
Yeah. You have a tote. Maybe just count it. How many figures are in there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
$10 each, 30 figures. That's $300. If somebody else,
where were you like 15 years ago, Nate? Come on.
What was I? What?
I said, where were you?
Oh yeah,
because I needed you.
Sorry, man.
I needed you in this garage that I was doing. Yeah.
I've done it myself.
This soccer mom, she threw the cash at me, grabbed the bag, threw it in the van, and she was out. Like, gone. I thought she was part of Fast and the Furious because she was gone so quick.
No, I've done the same thing though. Is where I'll try to sell stuff. And I'll go to one of those local shows. And I used to have a lot of carded things. So I had these mint on card, Kenner Dark Knight collection figures. And I'm like, I got to get rid of these. And I had like a tote of like probably 6 or 7. I didn't even like think about it in my head. What would I be willing to sell this whole thing for?
Yep.
So the first guy that comes up, he's like, what would you get? What would you do for all of them? And I did the same thing you did. I'm like,
$20. Yeah.
$70? Yeah. He's like, sure, throws it down, walks away, and the guy's like, man, that was a great deal. Kind of the same situation. I think about it in my head, I'm like, wait, that was 8 figures. Sold that for less than $10 each. I probably spent more on that.
Yeah.
So you don't want to have one of those moments where you're like, fuck, did I just make a mistake?
Yeah.
You want to feel good about it.
Yeah.
So, if you're thinking like somebody like this tote's worth $300, if somebody gives you like, oh, I'll give you $280,
Right.
I think I'd probably take that. You know,
Yeah.
am I going to fight them over $20? No, I'm getting 90% of what I wanted. So, yeah, have that price. And then I think another thing about preparation is know your shipping of what you're going to do.
Yep.
Are you going to add shipping to the cost? Or are you going to say 100 shipped for something? Because if you do that, you look like a real asshole when you come back and say, well, you know, shipping's more expensive than I thought. Can we give me another $10? You know, I don't want to have to deal with that because I was already settled on that price. I get it. Shipping's really expensive, but just prepare. Do your research. How much does it weigh? Can I ship it in a flat rate box maybe?
Yeah.
Should I take this to the post office and weigh it and get a price?
Yeah.
And if you are going to price it out as far as you can. Mm-hmm. So like, what is the New York cost? For me, that would be New York, Arizona to New York. Yeah. Or if you're in New York, how much would it cost to
West Coast, California, or ship it to Hawaii?
Or
if you're doing only U.S., you know, if you're doing international, like forget that. That's crazy.
I mean, it sounds off. Some people are like, man, this guy. But I try not to sell internationally because there's a whole nother process there. You got to fill out the customs form. It's usually a lot more expensive.
And if it gets lost or it gets lost,
it takes a long time to get there. There's just, for me, there's more risk. And to Prime's point, when I sell things to people, it's a lot of the times it's people that I've known.
Yeah.
So I want to try to do the right thing by them.
I think get them quickly, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly. So have your shipping worked out, know what you want for it. The last thing with the preparation is make sure everything's in the box.
Yeah.
You know, don't just be like, I think everything's in there and then ship it.
Yeah.
And then the guy gets it. You're like, hey, I'm missing like 5 accessories, man.
Yeah. Hey, where's the 37 head sculpts?
Yeah.
Bro?
Didn't you say 36? I remember you mentioned this on your live.
You said 36 head sculpts? I got like 6 head sculpts.
Yeah.
I'm missing like 30 head sculpts, bro.
Yeah. You don't want to be that guy that didn't check it out because you're in such a hurry that you just wanted to get rid of it. And then, you know, you're screwing over your friend that's getting it. And they're like, man, this sucks. I wouldn't have spent this much if I had known it wasn't coming with everything. Yeah. You know, because I'll pay more for something that's complete. And if it's not complete, you know, I expect some kind of nice deal on it. Because that, for me, now I can't resell that because it's going to be harder for me.
And that's like, I've separated so much of my stuff. Like I have all my accessories, all in different organizers that I don't have them together with. So I already know I'm not going to be able to get top dollar, which is fine. I just want to get everything out. I'm going to sell all the loose stuff. Then once I get done with the loose stuff, all the mock stuff, then all the accessories, I want to sell all my props. And I got like boxes of props. Then I got a bunch of 112 scale vehicles. I'm going to sell all my vehicles, some custom vehicles that I never finished. Like, I just want it all gone. So it's going to be kind of crazy. Then I'm going to have a bunch of space afterward. I'm excited. I'm nervous. Am I going to cry? Yes. Am I going to be okay? Yes. And it'll be all fine. I'll have more space and for new stuff. But yeah, it's kind of scary, man. It's kind of eerie. I'm like, I'm getting rid of all those props. And if you're in the photography game, you know, sometimes some of these props, you go like, I went through so many shows. I was like searching eBay. I was searching Amazon. There's some props where I'm like, man, it took me a month or 6 months to get this one freaking prop. I knew there's a couple of Spawn or Toddy Mac figures that I just bought the figure and I literally tossed the figure in the trash and I just wanted the one prop. I'm going to be selling all those props too. So yeah,
I know, man. I'll buy figures just for the prop.
Yeah.
You know, so if I'm seeing somebody selling props, you know, I'm interested now.
Selling everything, selling the farm.
Yeah, maybe I'll drive out there and get them from you or something. You don't have to ship it to me.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, it's just stuff like that.
You guys just saw a deal go down.
Right.
You're welcome.
We're working out the deal. Like he's talking about something he knows that I would want.
You guys saw that his eyes lit up, and those listening, go check out his eyes. Like, oh, his glasses almost fell off.
Yeah, if you're listening on Spotify, maybe check out the live and see how big my eyes really did. Because
you almost would need a Sharpie to fill in his pupil because that's how big they got. He was like,
my eyes get pretty huge. They're already big anyways, so they get pretty bulgy at times. But yeah, you know, hopefully that helps you guys. And I know it might seem like, oh, this is no-brainer stuff, but you'd be surprised how many people you see trying to sell that clearly have not done any prep. They're like in their closet taking pictures of a box of figures, and you're like, well, I'm not selling any of these, just this one.
Yeah, just that one that you can see the foot.
And don't do the DM for price.
Oh, I hate that.
Don't be
Put
one of
your
those
price,
guys.
or else you don't want to sell it.
Yeah, I'm scared to ask what the price is, because then as soon as I ask, you're going to think I'm interested. I'm like, I'm not really interested in that price anymore.
Yeah,
you know, I just be upfront. What is it that you want to? What do you want for that? Because if you have to make me ask, I'm probably just going to move on. I'll wait till I see that again.
That's right.
Because a lot of the times, I think people that do the DM for price are either embarrassed about what they want to ask for it, or they haven't done their research. So they're like, well, just give me an offer. And that's a dangerous game to play, because everybody's going to try to lowball. I don't care who you are. You're going to be like, well, I know it's worth 100. Will you take 75 for it?
Yeah.
You're going to try to lowball, and you'll get a situation like me and Prime did, where we're like, sure.
You want to make it for them an experience that it's easy to do business with. But then on that same hand, like if they're making it easy to do business with you, make sure you do your proper homework and send the payment, and they get what they asked for. And it's been amazing. Like I've had some really great interactions with some fellow collectors lately, where they check in. They're like, "Hey, did you get what we agreed on?" And I'll check. Sometimes I check. Sometimes I'll just get a notification. And I'm like, "Oh no, lately I don't know what's going on with PayPal. I'm getting charged for every single little thing. I feel like I get charged even for signing in or checking my balance." And I'm like, "Nope, they charged me like this weird $2.15 fee." And then the person said like, "Oh, I'll send you that extra, or can you send me the refund and then I'll send it to you via friends and family." Cool, that works too. Like I always give people the option, but it's always good to check in and make sure, hey, did I do that right? Or there's a lot of rumors out there. We spread rumors, start beef, but there's a rumor that PayPal, if you have a business account, PayPal doesn't give the buyer the option to send it via friends and family. And like for my stuff, it's set up as a business account, so maybe it's not so much the buyer, but maybe it's the way my account is set up, and they don't have that option to send it as friends and family. But I had some people check, and it still gives them the option. They just it makes it a little bit. They have to like double check and make sure they can send it via friends and family.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. Know which one you're willing to take.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you don't, if you want to do goods and services, account for the fee, and don't give me the bullshit like, well, you said 100.
Yeah,
100 plus the fees you have to pay. Why would you put that on me? Don't make me responsible for the fee. Yeah. And then to Prime's point, like if you do miss the $2, it sounds petty, but I'm going to be like, hey, I need that extra $2, man.
Yeah,
$2 because that's not what we agreed on.
Have you seen the price on gas? Do you want me to put
no kidding.
Plus shipping and plus tank, gas?
Dude. Yeah,
shipping and handling and gas too.
Right.
Yeah.
So hopefully that helps you guys out. If you guys have other tips and tricks that we did not touch on when you're hitting that like button for this show, because make sure you always do that with our shows. Make sure you leave a comment. Help other people out. What are some tips that maybe we didn't touch on that you could share? Yeah. This is supposed to be a community where we're helping each other out. So we'd love to hear from you guys. And then if you haven't checked out our last episode, make sure to check it out. We had a great conversation with the toy Page. Awesome guy. Page is just a wealth of knowledge for all things Mezco. So we get a kind of a deep dive into the Mezco talk and sort of the hot topics that people are talking about, the things that he deals with, being in the position that he is, where everybody knows he's the Mezco guy. And then also got to know a little bit about him because, you see his presence on Instagram, but you might not really know who Page is. So go check that out while you're there. Make sure you're subscribed. Hit the notification bell if you haven't hit it already, so you get alerted next time we go live. But yeah, hopefully I helped you guys out.
Yes.
Anything else you want to say there before we move into other topics?
Nope. I'm good to go.
Okay. We'll start with some pre-orders. Speaking of selling to buy, there's been some pretty interesting pre-orders lately. One of them, which is a Mario waifu, I think.
Definitely a Mario waifu, and I think this is this is almost like a autobiography figure based on his life. I was just recently on Chatmigos. Shout out to all the Chatmigos. You guys are freaking awesome, phenomenal. And we went over this, and I think they took a little page out of Mario's book. Chamba knows the whole story behind it, and I guess it was like this kid who pre-ordered this maid, and this is who showed up at his door. And I'm like 35%, if not 75% sure that's what Mario told me, that he ordered this made to clean his house. So.
Yeah, this would definitely end up his waifu for Laifu channel. But yeah, this maid I thought was really interesting. It's the Me and Roboco Steel Roboco Ryobot DX version action figure. That's a mouthful. There's a DX version, there's a standard version, and then if you go to the Sentinel store, there is a Sentinel version which comes with an additional faceplate. So there's a bunch of different versions of this.
Yeah,
it's from Sentinel, the people that did the
Miles.
Yeah,
Peter B. Parker,
Spider-Man, and
the Fighting Armor Iron Man.
Yeah,
and you guys know, if you guys have any of the Sentinels, I haven't seen a lot of pictures of this freaking Sentinel Iron Man, but he's a phenomenal figure, and the articulation is on point.
Yeah, so I think if Mario's going to ask what them ankles do, I think they're going to do a lot. Yeah. They're moving a lot. She comes with some rice, some tomato sauce, some cleaning stuff, I guess. A bunch of different.
Feed you and clean you, right?
Yeah, I mean, she's a stocky girl as well, so she'll kick your ass. She shoots fireballs. I think this is based on an old cartoon where this maid was a robot. It makes me think of the Jetsons, you know?
Yeah.
But more of a
Rosie.
realistic-looking robot.
Wasn't there a show too? Oh man, I remember there being like a live-action kids show where like the maid was like a little. She was a little kid, but she was a robot too.
Yeah, that rings a bell. I just don't know the name.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's kind of like
drop it down.
Yeah, it makes me think of the same thing when I'm watching these images because it looks very kind of cartoonish.
Yeah,
you know, she's flying around using her braids, spinning really fast.
The braids are her like propellers. Okay.
Yeah, that's what at least that's
that's
like they've extended and now they're propellers.
Wow.
So she uses those to fly around in Superman poses. That's cool. It comes with this additional head, I guess, that you can.
I think that's Mario's head.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's Mario's head.
That's for asking about her ankles. That's what she's doing.
No, he's trying to like get a peek, and she's like, "Hey, mind your manners. You don't do that. You be respectful." Yeah, I love the face plates, though. The expressions are awesome.
I know, very expressive. They definitely did a good job of selling the figure, I think, in the shots because
I wish my thighs looked like that.
Yeah, I know. This girl is ripped, dude. She's beefy. But it's just a really cool, like, unique figure. It's one of those that I'm actually considering myself. I'm like, man, this would be fun to use just for shots.
Yeah. Super fun.
Yeah, just some random character. You can see everything it comes with, like a comic book, some extra flame effects, Mario's head peeping out of the ground, an extra skirt, some face plates. And like I said, there's a bunch of different versions. So there's ones that come with additional stuff. It's $100 for the DX version. Just kind of a cool release, something a little bit different.
Very unique. I like that.
Yeah, not like your comic stuff.
Yeah.
Speaking of comic stuff, we're going to go into I don't think we've talked about these yet. I know they've been out for a couple of weeks, but there's the classic costume Spider-Man, which according to HLJ is already on the wait list. So hopefully you guys got on that. I think there's Ami Ami. I don't think it's on BBTS anymore. You have the classic Spidey?
Yeah, I have the classic Spidey.
I kind of like the paint on this one better than the original.
Yeah, I like the paint on this one. I'm trying to go through this hamster wheel, trying to spin it and remind myself, did I freaking get this or did I not freaking get this? Did I pre-order this? I want to say I did, but I might have done it like half asleep because the minute I see it or someone shared the link, I can't remember. I'm gonna have to check my Ami account after this and see if I pre-ordered this because that Mayfix Spider-Man, it's a freaking amazing figure.
Yeah, I really like the paint job on this
one. And I love the comic colors.
Yeah, because I think the original was like a comic version is what they called it.
And it was dark. It was a darker blue. I like the bright blue.
Darker blue, darker reds, and the lines were not as well defined. They weren't colored in very well.
Yeah.
So it's a little rough. So this one seems like their second attempt, and it's a much better version, in my opinion.
Yeah, like Marvel Select did Spider-Man in these colors. One of my favorites.
Yeah. Right. So, yeah, this is definitely.
Hopefully, I got this. Hopefully, it's in my cart.
Well, and another thing about it too, if you go, the conversion rate from yen to dollars right now is really in favor for dollars.
Okay.
So the yen's kind of down, and like you can see this one's $62.
Oh.
That's pretty cheap.
I'm gonna have to go.
Normally like 75. So I think that's part of the conversion rate going on, is that some of these Japanese sites have them for less than you can get them at like BBTS. So that's something to consider. Maybe try to pay it in full now if you can, just to lock that price down, or at least pre-order it. The other one is the Scarlet Spider. This seems to be a lot of people's favorite version of Spider-Man. And this is actually a Spider-Man I don't know a whole lot about. I didn't read any comics with him. It's Ben Reilly, right? Okay.
Sure. I think I'm gonna go with Ben Reilly.
Okay.
He's one of my favorites. I don't know a whole. It's been a good minute since I've read some comics, especially Scarlet Spidey. But when he was first introduced, I was all about Scarlet Spidey.
Yeah, I love the hoodie aspect of it, and it's got the cloth goods. It's just kind of a very unique version of Spider-Man. I know a lot of people. If I got the name wrong, I'm probably going to get tons of horrible comments like, Jesus, this guy does not know his Marvel.
You should prepare next time.
This one's still available, though, on HLJ at least. So if you guys missed out on the pre-order, you can lock it down now. I think it looks really cool. I like this one a lot. Going into other ones, I saw this is a little bit different, not really figures, but I noticed a bunch of these new dial pieces dropping on BBTS. There's like this prison cell, which is $50. Maybe that's a little much, but I think you're getting kind of a cool dial piece for the money. You can use your lighting like that. I just saw a bunch of these kind of pop up at the same time. There's a subway station, which I feel like this is pretty pricey. But it's also very detailed.
And that's the pros and cons, because this is like, fabricated, right? It's your plastic, and those are SHF scale. That's the only problem. You gotta, Marvel Legends, or if you do some NECA stuff or Storm Collectibles, may not look as good. The figures that they're using there, those are imports, so
it's true.
That's something to take into consideration. But if you want to get somebody to commission it for you, you're going to probably be looking at the same price. And that's the challenge with, I think, a lot of photographers, or new collectors, I should say, is they want to get pieces like that, and they see these prices, and they're like, oh, that's kind of pricey. I'm going to get someone to commission it, and you're probably going to pay the same, or if not more. And it's going to take them longer, because they're just one person.
To be honest, I'd rather buy it from a customizer in their community. I think it's more of like, are you willing to wait for someone's work? Or do you just want to go the fast route? But Prime made some really great points that I didn't even think about. It's probably SHF size. Because most Japanese dios are a little bit smaller. So your Mezcos probably won't fit in there as easy as you might think. And if you're going to spend, $180 or $50 on something, you want to make sure you can use it, and it's not going to be a disappointment. But if you are just trying to get a quick and dirty dio, this is a good option. Try it out, see how it goes, and you can always just like, okay, I'm not going to do that again. I hate to figure Ruth for recommending it.
And sometimes the custom way is the way to go, because then you can tell them, hey, I want it. And like when I used to do dials back in the day, people would tell me like, oh, all I do is Marvel Legends, or all I do is SHF, so make it a little bit smaller, make it a little bit larger, and then boom, it's exactly to your fit. And a lot of times it's a one-of-a-kind type of piece.
And you got guys like 78 Points, which are doing dios for around, I don't want to quote his price because I'm not exactly sure what his next one is, but it's around 200, 220.
And that's usually, that's the going price for a dio. Like, and you're going to get stellar work.
Really good.
It is. It's not cheap, but it's not crazy expensive, because there's some dio makers are far more than that. But at the same time, he's giving you a lot of options to customize it to any of your liking. The quality's there. It's consistent, and it's just you know that he's going to deliver. There's sometimes that when there's either a brand new dio maker or one that's been established and they're getting burnt out, or they've taken on more than they can handle, you pay that much and then you don't see an end result for like 6 months or a year, or you have to wait a long time because stuff happens. So I think the way 78 does it is really smart. Just launches it, pre-orders it, gives you a time window, and then that's it, and then closes it. So
Yeah, and I speak from experience. I always feel like I get what I'm paying for with him.
Yeah.
I feel like
you showed his pieces, like those look spectacular. So
yeah, I'm a big fan of his work. Yeah, definitely recommend that.
Your username does have a lot of points of articulation, probably one too many, but your skill and your product is amazing. I would just probably think twice about that. That's way too many. One too many points of articulation, sir.
Yeah, that's like Yamaguchi, and you're just gonna piss people off with that many points. Like, this is too many points of articulation.
I can't be part of this Gucci gang. Gucci gang has way too many points of articulation, and they just announced Black Panther.
They did.
Oh yeah. Are you getting that Black Panther?
I am definitely.
He looks really, really good.
Yeah, I don't even see where was that announced? Because
I saw it on, of course, from all places, Tlamigos.
Oh yeah, okay, Tlamigos, of course.
You know, that's everyone's place for knowledge.
Let's pull that up real quick, and that'll be our last one, and then we'll move into other things.
Yeah.
Let's see.
And the minute I saw that, I was like, "Oh, Nate's gonna be
all over it,
taking over his throne of Gucci gang."
Oh, I put it in my story immediately. I was like, Gucci gang.
He looks really good.
He looks awesome.
And it makes sense for this type of character to have this type of crazy over 78 points of articulation. Too many points.
Too many points, but just enough for Black Panther.
That's awesome.
I think it looks really good. Yeah. This is one of those that you don't see a lot of breaks in the sculpt. And I think that's one thing that Yamaguchi's getting better at, is trying to hide the joints a bit more. Mm-hmm. So that you don't break up the sculpt so much. Because if you look at like the first Spider-Man they did,
there's Wolverine.
There's joints all over the place. You can just see it, or the Wolverine, yeah. So as they've gone on, as I've been collecting them, they've gotten better and better and better about hiding the joints, so it's not as jarring, or just really takes you out of that's an action figure. I can tell because look at all those joints.
Yeah,
and
it looks very natural. The poses. We were showing some pictures of him posed like he's kneeling, he's punching the ground. It's just
he's got that shockwave effect going on.
Yeah, the effects are really cool.
Really, really good. Yeah, that'll definitely be a pre-order for me.
Nice.
All right. Well, moving on, we will talk about Plastic Confessions. Uh-oh.
I'm getting a token this week.
You're holding your head in shame.
I'm holding my head in shame because I'm getting a token this week as I'm preparing for this massive sale. The primetime clearance. Everything must go.
Primetime clearance sale.
Primetime clearance. Everything must go. The blue light special. Get ready.
I love it. That's great. Yeah, pay attention to Prime's page because I think he's going to give you guys some good deals. There's a lot of stuff coming.
It's time for a change. That's my motto.
It's prime time.
It's prime time.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, so no confession for Prime, but that makes sense because he's trying to offload, not onload.
Yeah.
But I did get something.
Nice.
I got speaking of Mayfix, and one of the reasons why I want to talk about those new Spider-Man. Sorry, there's a lot of glare.
Got that Venom.
Yeah, I got the Mayfix reissue of Venom. I had missed out on this originally when he came out. Mm-hmm. So I'm very happy that they reissued him because he's really a good-looking figure.
Yeah.
And I'm just loving what Mayfix is doing with his comic line. So it was a no-brainer for me. Like when I saw it go up, I'm like, okay, I got to get it because this is probably my last chance. And I think these have sold out since. So hopefully you guys got one if you wanted him. I'm a huge fan of the Mayfix comic stuff. So very excited to break that one open and take some shots.
Nice.
Okay, moving on into Nasty Nate's Dirty Trick for the week. This is one kind of like last week when I was talking about something that I wanted to try and something that I've seen some people use is a polarizing lens.
Oh, so I've heard about those.
Yeah, you can get polarizing covers from Amazon or really anywhere. But it's not like a full lens. It's just a cover that you can put on top of your lens. Mm-hmm. And the cool thing about it is that it takes away a lot of the glare. So let's say, for instance, you're trying to take a shot of like a pond or something close to a pond. Yeah. A lot of the times is that the light reflects off the pond and you just have this like kind of like, you've got a pond that looks like the sky. It's like either blue or it's showing something else. What the polarizer does, it gets rid of a lot of that glare and a lot of those reflections. So you can actually look deep into that pond on top of something else, Or if you're shooting into the sun, it takes away a lot of the glare, because a lot of the times those UV rays will oversaturate your shots and ruin the colors. So you got to be really careful about light. But if you put a polarizing filter on there, it actually helps reduce that UV effect in your shot. So it can really help it make, really bring out the colors, really kind of help with the intensity. My buddy Toys for Life 88 swears by them. He told me, he's like, hey, if I can recommend you getting something, get a polarizing cover for your lens. Yeah, it's been really helpful. So even if you're doing indoor shots, I think it can be really helpful, because it's just a way to kind of reduce the glare, reduce the intensity, but still preserve the colors. So I'd say if you guys are trying to do outdoor shots, because it is the summer right now, maybe try out one of those lens covers. They're like $50 sometimes, or even less. You can get them for pretty cheap. And it's cheaper than going out and buying a lens that's specifically for that, because I don't really need that. But I do want to be able to do outdoor shots, even not of figures, but of, when me and my wife travel or whatever the case may be. And I always run into the problem of, damn, it's just too bright. Like, I can't take a shot here. Yeah. So then, you don't have to worry so much about what time of day it is. I just put that filter on. It reduces it, so it's a nice shot again.
Nice.
So awesome. Try out those polarizing filters. It's definitely something I'm going to be investing in soon. One of them went up on the Prime Day deal, so
there you go.
I'm going to grab it. Yeah, but yeah, it's just something you guys can try. The time of the year, I think it's good timing for using one of those filters.
And who doesn't love Prime Day? I mean, hello.
Right.
Like, by the time you guys are listening to this, Prime Day has already came and went. But on Prime Day, I was on Chat Migos, so make sure you guys check out that episode if you haven't already. Check in with the Chat Migos. Follow with the Chat Migos. They're freaking phenomenal what they're doing over there. I could almost say that Toy Migos was a heavy inspiration for us starting this podcast. I know they inspired me a lot, They were
a lot of the segments that we walked through, like pre-orders and things like that. Yeah, I mean, they kind of like
they're
set
a pillar
the mold.
Of this foundation. Yeah, for sure.
Right. They kind of created the mold that a lot of us have started our own things from.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really cool that you got to be a part of that. Shout out to the
awesome,
Migos and the Toy Migos for having you on.
Shout out to all of them. Cheney 180, Jurassic Jesse, Chamba, Lago Figs, Dario, 80s Baby, Fallen Fat. You guys are freaking phenomenal.
Yeah, go check out Prime's episode if you guys missed it. We had a good time with them on Prime Day. That had to have been planned.
I cannot confirm nor deny it.
It was planned. I'm just going with that. Spreading rumors and starting beef. That's what we do here.
That's what we do here.
Last and certainly not least, guys, is the Figure Aficionado for the week.
I almost feel like we need a shirt for that. Just like some type. Maybe like a sash or something. I don't know. That needs something.
Figure Aficionado with like a trophy or something on it.
It's like a crown, a gesture hat. I don't know.
A trophy on top of a camera. Like
or a piece of, or a beef that's like burned with just Figure Aficionado.
There you go. Like a brand.
Yeah, just branded, just there.
Yeah.
Get your
piece
of
Figure
beef.
Aficionado, you get branded for life. I was a Figure Aficionado once. But yeah, this is a guy that I've been following for some time, but this is actually Prime's suggestion for this week.
Yes, sir.
It's a great idea because, I mean, talk about not only a talented photographer, but a consistent one, and one that's just been pumping out content. Not that he needs the followers, because he's got a fairly large following, but if you're not paying attention to his work, you're really missing out on some great photography, because he does some amazing work.
Yeah.
You can see this kind of Andrew Garfield inspired Spider-Man shot. He's always doing very creative ideas. This is kind of a Mr. Lee inspired shot. Thanos and Captain America. I love the way this came out.
Yeah.
And he's obviously got some Photoshop skills where he's enhancing his photos with Photoshop.
Mm-hmm.
I think he still tries to do a lot of it practical when he can.
Yeah.
You can see the setup there and then kind of what the final result was. I love how this is the boys. It's Superman dunking on top of Homelander, and then you got Billy Butcher like, in the background. Great shot. Really good storytelling. Rhino. I just went through that one. It's like a Rhino unboxing, I think, or something like that. Then you got Wolverine with the Infinity Gauntlet. Kind of what would Wolverine do?
Yeah.
He's incredibly creative with his shots and kind of what he chooses to shoot and the setups and the ideas that he has.
Who is this amazing photographer you speak of?
Oh, I didn't even mention his name.
No, you didn't mention his name. So I'm on the edge of my seat. I'm listening. If I'm driving, I might have been already swerving. So if you're driving, just stay focused on the road. We're about to tell you who you should be following.
His name is Kadz, Kadz Toys, Toyz.
Yeah, awesome.
Kadz
Awesome shots.
Toys. Another photographer that he shoots a lot with, I think these guys are close friends, is 529_J, but it's J4Y. He actually lost his account recently due to some weird Instagram community guideline bullcrap. So he had to start a new account. So if you've been looking for his work, you can see he's featured in Kadz Toys. But they do a lot of shots together. That's why I mentioned him, is they do a ton of stuff together. So I think they're pretty good friends and probably work together a lot. But yeah, I mean, check out Kadz Toys because does some great work. I just skipped one that was pretty good, but Thor and
Scarlet Witch.
Scarlet Witch, thank you. Pumping some iron.
Yeah.
But
yeah. And the shot that really really pulled me was he did a shot with like all the Spider-Verse.
Yes.
Which was Spider DR. You know, it was just such an epic shot. And you can see like it's right there.
That's the real.
Yeah, that one.
This one.
Mm-hmm. With some of the Sentinel stuff, it's just mixing different figures, the posing, the lighting. I mean, sometimes the simple shots are the really ones that knock it out of the ballpark. And again, I think for that first-time collector just stepping in, being consistent and just looking at those that have really mastered their craft, and then trying to incorporate that, take a little bit of that photography that you really admire, and then make it your own. I always love some epic shots. It's awesome.
Yeah, he does it in a way where, like, you know, you think about, well, how many different ways can I shoot Spider-Man?
Right.
Well, go to Kadz Toys page because all of his shots are unique and different and creative. And a lot of the times I'll go to his page and you don't see the same kind of ideas twice. You see a lot of different variation of, and it's clear he has a lot of love for Spider-Man because he shoots a lot of different Spider-Man figures. But here's another one. Superman arm wrestling with Homelander, taking a selfie, looking very happy about it. Butcher again in the background.
Again, having fun with those figures. Yeah. Different backgrounds. Some are really simple. Some are really complex. Some involve dials. Some are props. It's again, having fun with this with the figures. It's just, it kind of blows my mind. I'm like, damn, the possibilities are really endless.
Right.
Yeah.
So go check him out if you guys haven't followed him before. Again, it's Kadz, Kadz, Toys, Toyz. Give him a follow. He's a great photographer. You will not be disappointed.
Yeah. Awesome figure aficionado for this week. And that brings us to another conclusion of the Figure Booth. I am glad you made it to the very end. And if you did and you are still here watching and listening to us, make sure you hit that like. Make sure you leave your thoughts down below. Let us know what you thought of this. And if you enjoy what we're doing here on a weekly basis, spread the word. We are counting on you. And only with your help can we get to that next level, which our goal for this year, or maybe we can make it sooner, is hitting that 1K mark. So we can start bringing more awesome content to you guys. We got a ton of ideas, but we need your help. Can't make it happen unless you help us get there.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you guys like this, please share it. Like Prime said, even if it's, just a share in your stories, or if you're like DMing someone like, hey, have you listened to this yet?
Or if you have to write it on a bathroom wall, be like, hey, check out the Figure Booth. And then for a good time check out the Figure Booth.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, if you're listening to this and you're not subscribed, please subscribe. That makes a big difference to me in Prime. We're really trying to grow this channel into bigger than what it is. We want to keep providing awesome content, but part of that is being able to grow the channel. So getting more subscribers, getting those likes, getting the comments. It's not just about the following, it's also about the engagement. So hit the like button. Just you share it as much as you can. We appreciate it. We hate to solicit and do that, but if you guys can help us out, we really appreciate it.
Yes, sir. And where can they follow you at, Nate? Where can
you guys can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and I'll say TikTok, even though I haven't logged on there in a while, but TikTok at figurefan_Nate.
Awesome. And you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and now even on TikTok, all under Prime to the First. Feel free to check me out there. Keep your eye out on my page on Instagram. I will be selling everything. The Blue Light Special will be starting soon. And we'll check you guys out next time.
Check you guys out next time. Thanks for tuning in. See you later.